Stars and Candy L music from the album and Dangerous Type. Bon Jovi before that, and You Give Love a Bad Name here at Classic Rock and Roll HLM 94.7, 104.3, 105.5, 930, 1280, and WHLM.com. Well, the Press Enterprise headline says that Bashar Hanna, Dr. Bashar Hanna, denies that he has mistreated anyone. Well, with all due respect, Dr. Hanna, I have in my possession a laundry list of people that you have mistreated here in this community. And topping that list is my very own son, David Riley. We did an interview with probably one of the biggest stories that will be remembered, an iconic story that will be remembered for decades to come. And that happened in Charlottesville almost 2 years ago. My son, who is so far ahead of the news loop, sniff that one out. My son went down there and recorded on videotape the Tiki Torch March with his drone. By the time he came back to this community, he had been judged as being a part of the Tiki Torch. And he was not. So we had on this show about 2 years ago, the person that was putting together the Charlottesville Unite the Right. I forget the guy's name. And that was on a Thursday. And apparently, Bloomsburg University didn't like the fact that we put this person on the radio to quote-unquote slander, libel, promote that event on a radio station that does interviews, had, at least at that time, did topical interviews for 15 years. And so Dr. Hanna, who was not even in town 60 days, made the decision to boycott WHLM, which in essence was shutting the radio station down. And as in most small communities, there will be a cascading effect when you have a major institution that is as powerful as a state institution called Bloomsburg University makes a judgment call on our editorial decision to interview the only radio station in the country that said, hey, can we get this guy to do an interview? Because this is going to be a big story. The only radio station in the country. Well, apparently, that rubbed all the liberals the wrong way on the campus of Bloomsburg University, which means everybody, in my opinion. And so the university decided to come out with a major statement. Of course, this was after a woman was killed. I can remember my son calling me when that happened. He said he was devastated. He said, it's crazy down here. It's crazy. Incidentally, the video that he took was part of a Frontline series on PBS, was part of the Discovery Channel. They did a series on Charlottesville. And Steven Spielberg, who is going to be doing a movie about Charlottesville, has contacted my son. His organization has contacted my son to get footage, the only one smart enough to go down and get footage like that because he has a nose for news. By the time he comes back, because of what Dr. Bashar Hanna did, by listening to the wrong people in this community, he decided to pull all the advertising. Oh, it goes better than that. They were going to shut our antenna off because our antenna is on Bloomsburg University property. You think I'm kidding you? I'll tell you the story when I write my book. This is going almost 2 years ago. So within 60 days, there was a cascade of libel, slander, invasion of privacy, defamation of character, all brought on by the mismanagement of Bloomsburg University and the president of that organization. We sat back and we took it. Personally, professionally, business-wise. A lot of people connected with this radio station has been ripped apart because of that mismanagement. Has there ever been an apology? One iota? A lie? Yes, there was a lie. We'll consider doing sports next year. They decided, without even telling us, to give the Bloomsburg University sports to the Smelly Foot. There is a lawsuit, 17 entities, that my son has taken out, and incidentally, Bloomsburg University isn't in that lawsuit. If I had anything to do with it, I would have. Bloomsburg Theater Ensemble is not in the lawsuit. If I were involved in it, they would be involved too, with their involvement. First-hand knowledge. Libel, slander, invasion of privacy, defamation of character. He denies he has mistreated anyone? With this headline in the Press Enterprise, I could not let it go. There's always been a rift between the university and this community, mostly because of the expense caused to this community and the hardship on taxes as it relates to the university buying up property and taking it off the tax rolls, which puts the squeeze on everyone. And, the state in their godliness, or I should say godlessness, will come down and throw a couple of $1,000s here and a couple of $1,000s there. Just look at Block Party Weekend and don't give me this bull crap that you have no control over it, because that is BS. The BS buzzer is going off. Very simple. Anybody that gets nailed, you are expelled from school. Next. And that will put a damper on that in no time flat. But if they keep playing politics with it until somebody's going to get killed, that's going to happen. With the shootings going on, are you kidding me? And with the influence that's coming into that community on campus? Hasn't mistreated anyone. There's always been that rift, and I believe it's a rupture. That's what I believe. I know it is for me personally and professionally. When you look at the increase in cost of police, when you look at the increase in the cost of the fire department, when you look at the increase in costs of maintaining the streets and going around after a Thursday crawl when the place looks like a shit house, and cleaning it up after these kids, of course there's a rift. and sending a bunch of kids in for, what do they call it, cleanup Saturday or something. Sending a couple hundred kids down here to clean up when they actually go around to university employees and clean up their houses. I happen to know one lives right across the street from me. You see 20 kids there. That's a university employee. There was an organization called Town and Gown years ago that was put together to help in relations between the community and the university. And that very delicate balance between Town and Gown, he has come into this town in less than 60 days and has destroyed any goodwill. And I can tell you, Dr. Hanna, if you want a list of the people that have been hurt, that have been mistreated, we're at the top of the list. Now, somebody had, you know, I have gone through hell in the last 2 years. You know that. My son, my wife, many of our sponsors went through hell. Many sponsors that have not come back because they went through hell because of what that man did. And if you think I'm going to sit here and read my newspaper in my town and be on my radio station and not say something about denies he has mistreated anyone, this guy is in la-la land. Respectfully, Dr. Hanna. And this is your Morning Buzz.
HLM. News Radio WHLM.